Hello to everybody. Thank you for coming today. My name is Sheryl Diersen, and this is Mary Schroeder. On behalf of the Museum Board, we want to welcome all of you to take a walk down memory lane with us at the Historical Museum today in Odebolt. Okay. In 1983, the state of Iowa allocated funds for counties to museums. Sac County in turn budgeted money to each town in the county for a historical museum. On and on, Bob Carmine, who was mayor at the time, appointed Rose White, Russ Peters, E.F. Patrick, and Charles Waterbury to the startup committee. In 1985, the city of Odebolt purchased the American Legion building, which incidentally was a carriage house for the Kelso House on the corner. Jack Simpson was the starting director. Ruth Kelly became curator in 1991, followed by Carol Owen, Verna Mae Schwaller, Kathy Larson, Stephanie Reinhardt, and now Kathy Larson again. The museum board advertised for donations in the paper, both for particular items and monetary. And when I say our or we when I'm talking about the museum, I mean the museum board, the museum. Our museum collection grew, and within a few years, more space was needed. The current owner of our building now was Bob and Bob Diker here at 137 West 2nd Street. They wanted to trade for the Legion property where the museum was located, so a swap was made. The museum gained more space and a downtown location. Now the Peterson Pioneer Home and the Rural Legacy Schoolhouse, two very fine museums, are across the street, making for an interesting and informative three-stop tour. In 2004, Thelma Schroeder and Verna Mae Schwaller spearheaded the big move to our current building. With the help of family, friends, a few business employees, the museum collection was moved box by box over a period of weeks into the building we now call home. We are happy to say that with continued donations, our museum collection keeps growing. The museum building itself was constructed in 1908. Long time ago. It was a dry goods store and has been used as a hardware store, a furniture and appliance store, an electrical store, a hatchery, an antique store. This picture shows a relative of Jack Krusenshiner's who owned it as a general store in the 20s.
Notice this, the ceiling. The ceiling is still there, above the present ceiling.
Yeah, how would you like to climb up a ladder to get stuff off the top shelves?
Thank you.
Upstairs in our present building, there is a big room in the front and an apartment in the rear. It is said that the big room in front was once a dance hall. Can't find anybody to verify that. The apartment was used until 1967 by Joan Gomerson and Inez Steffen, whose aunt and uncle operated a feed and hatchery on the main floor. The upstairs is closed to the public as the steps are unsafe and too steep for public use. It's now used for museum storage. The basement is open to the public. In 2018, the museum building was remodeled. Everything was packed, stacked, and moved into the back room. Let's see here. Yeah, right there. And new lights were put in, new wiring. It was painted. We left the floor as is. The awnings and steel roof were added later.
And notice the ceiling. Looks like it original, but it's replaced. Wonderful.
When you arrive at our museum, you'll notice a window display. Renee Babcock changes them every month or 6 weeks to reflect the seasons. Which that one there? It's January.
Wash day.
Wash day, summer, winter.
That's wash day.
There's wash day.
Halloween.
Holidays, Halloween, Christmas.
And this is a recent one, the wedding dresses was beautiful.
Yeah, a display of Odebolt Creek Day t-shirts was in the window when that was going on, followed by the wedding gowns for the summer weddings. Does it?
Who knows what the window is now?
School.
Yes.
Yeah.
School.
Back to school.
Doesn't she do an awesome job?
Yeah.
So
She does. We really appreciate Renee's ideas and work. Now, on with the tour. As you walk around the museum, you will notice that the museum is divided into different rooms, quote, quote. The dividers were constructed by Jesse Sharp. They give a cozier feeling to this long building, as well as more wall space. The board members at the time each chose a room to furnish using items from the museum's collection. Mary, what room did you create?
I did the sewing room. And why? Well, I came here in 1975 as a home ec teacher, and I guess I'd like to sew, so I did that room and helped others, but wow, it was quite the process, but I think it turned out quite well.
Yeah, the room divisions are great, and with great results. That's nice. There we are. We are standing in the sitting room there. I think I'll take a breather and grab a chair and actually sit in this sitting room. You can too, because the chairs are sturdy. This sitting room has a Story & Clark organ donated by the John Nelson Estate. The organ was destroyed when a car smashed through the wall of the Legion Hall Museum. It was rebuilt piece by piece by Fred Clements of Diersen. Yes, it's playable. So if you want to try it, we can find some sheet music, or maybe a hymnal. How wonderful it would be to hear Amazing Grace or Moon River floating through the air.
Who did?
My niece's husband played the organ when they visited. Were you there that?
I think so, yes.
Yes,
It's very good.
it was fun. Oh, this beautiful fainting couch was donated by Thelma Dressahughes. Dear, what happened? Do you think I should get a vinaigrette to revive her?
I don't think so. I think she'll get better in a few minutes. You know what? Look at those shoes. Maybe they're a little tight.
Well, yeah, tight shoes maybe would make you faint. Anyone for a game of checkers? This is an old game table with wooden checkers, just waiting for you to grab a chair and play. We want our museum to be a hands-on experience for you, to bring back memories and to show our younger visitors what things looked like back then. This is Mary's sewing room that she designed. We have several old Sears catalogs.
This is a replica, but I'm gonna pass this around. This is what the Sears and Roebuck catalog used to look like. Ordered houses, anything.
Yeah, good. So, do you remember how excited you were when the Christmas catalog came in the mail? Yes. There is an example of tatted lace, crocheted doilies, embroidered dish towels, and pillowcases. Handwork that is practically a lost art in this day and age. Old patterns that were used to cut out old feed sack material and sewn into a shirt using an old treadle sewing machine. A spinning wheel sits quietly in the corner. All of these items and more are for viewing in the sewing room. The bedroom has an iron bedstead and a clothes closet, filled with dresses from the 30s and 40s, 50s. Feel free to pull one out. Note the tiny sizes.
Yes, very tiny.
Too small for me. There are some centennial dresses. There's hats, gloves. There's the clothes closet. Okay, I'll talk slower. Hats and gloves, jewelry, all accessories my stylish lady of past times used and wore. You know, do you like this hat?
Maybe?
Maybe. Well, I looked.
Oh.
I guess that's the right way. How about that one?
That looks good.
That's cool.
Ah,
What about the other one?
yeah, let's see. This one,
Oh, wow, that's
nice.
I don't know what this black cord is, maybe to keep it from blowing off in the wind.
wow, that's cool. That's great.
I don't know.
Just don't sit behind her.
It goes down further. Who knows? Tuck here.
Just get a chair here, can I do that?
What about that red hat? That looks
Oh,
cool.
we could wear mirrors. Yeah. This one is losing its feathers a little bit.
Look at that.
I should pull that veil down. No. I really like my white one the best with this dress. Yeah.
With your outfit. They all look good on you.
Oh, shoot.
There's lots of.
There's lots of hats down there, that's right.
Remember Sally, wasn't it Sally Davis?
Yeah, her name came up before, say.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it could be.
Sally Dingus always had a hat on.
Okay, what else here? Better get over my pages here so I can tell what I'm doing. There is a bureau filled with baby clothes and children's rompers. The biggest attraction in the bedroom is the beautiful display of wedding gowns, enhanced by special lighting. We try to tag all of our donations so Grandma's wedding gown might be displayed with a name tag and hopefully a wedding picture. Anyone care to guess how many wedding gowns or wedding suits we have? Take a wild guess.
50.
Not that many.
30?
I think there's probably a good 20.
We have more upstairs.
There's
Oh,
more
really?
upstairs. Yeah. So,
It's really cool.
there's probably 20 on display. Okay. The dining room table is set, graced with linen tablecloth, napkins, English china, and silverware. Do you see that woman standing there in the corner waiting to be seated? She is wearing a 1901 walking suit of silk that once belonged to Mrs. W.P. Adams. Beautiful. Ah, I see the wine is poured. Oh, and the salad is about to be served. So let's sit down and enjoy our dinner. I don't call it supper here when we're doing fancy. Okay, our kitchen has everything, including the kitchen sink. Maybe we could whip up a batch of brownies the old fashioned way, with a big spoon and a bowl. No boxes, no mixes. Probably not my cup of tea anymore either. Just look at that old stove, cast iron. Took 4 men to move it. Burned coal, wood, and probably corn cobs. How would you like to bake that pan of brownies in there? Keeping an even temperature during the baking time, so you don't end up with brownie crisp, or worse, brownie soup. Those cooks had to be miracle bakers. Take a peek out that kitchen window on the wall. It came from Chet Tivenot's DX Oil Depot. The barber and beauty shop features Harvey Keller's barber chair. Just a buzz cut for me today, Harv.
That's Mrs. Nest.
Hey, look at that old curl machine. That'd be a big spider sitting on my head.
Okay, how many of you remember these?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I
Making you look pretty, huh?
Yeah.
They
easier to sleep on than those
Yeah.
brush ones.
Soft,
Remember the
yes.
brush ones?
Yeah, right.
Okey-dokey.
Okay. Well, thankfully I didn't need a perm that day.
That's scary.
Okay, the doctor's office includes some tables from Doc Hubiak's office, plus some old medical equipment. Old pill bottles, old wooden wheelchairs.
And do you see the little crutches there?
Yeah.
You know who those are?
Sharon.
Sharon Gronemeyer's.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, the little
Little.
leg braces.
And her leg brace too.
They're so little.
Gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. The Odebolt memorabilia section has various advertising items, pens, papers, calendars, posters for a circus coming to town, or for a show at the Princess Theater. It's been a long time since we've had a theater in our town. The Odebolt, oh, there's some more views of what's in the shelving there.
What was the gentleman's,
Roger Bartley.
Roger Barkley.
That must have been his license plate.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
so.
so.
Sure, what is that?
It's from California, so,
Ah.
yeah.
Good notice, I didn't notice that. And then,
Just some more things in the memorabilia section. The big quilt that used to fit here, that used to be here, has been donated to the from the library to the museum. And we need to get a little
manpower.
manpower to get the rack up, and it will go in this section. We'll
Yeah.
have to move some of the posters around, but
We'll do it.
we'll get her done. Okay, can you see an old buffalo blanket that John Modernot Jr. brought from Buffalo Bill Cody in the early 1800s when he came through selling hides? Hanging on the wall is a horsehair coat that will keep you warm on the coldest of sleigh rides. Might itch a little bit, maybe, I don't know. Really neat stuff. The military section has uniforms, medals donated by local servicemen and women, plus an old newspaper from World War II shouting, "War ended." It also has American Legion and Women Auxiliary information. On the shelf at the entrance of the schoolhouse room, some kids might want to type a short message on one of our old manual typewriters. We all use those. The kids won't have any trouble composing a note, as letters of the alphabet on the modern computer keyboards are arranged in the same manner as the old typewriters. Why is that, do you suppose? A puzzle. Want to find Dad's, or, yeah, you want to find Dad's old senior picture?
We have lots of annuals, and some of them are for sale. And I should have grabbed the, was it 83? Where's Julie? 83. But, there's pictures of Julie in here. Great.
Leave them all out, kindergarten.
So people really enjoy coming and looking at the annuals.
Well, grab an annual and pull out a chair to look. Well, looky there, it's Uncle Speed and Aunt Marge from a 47 annual. Huh. Down,
It's not
the
very
two
well
on the
at the bottom.
bottom row. Or, well, I guess they're Mary's father-in-law
Father-in-law?
and aunt, but they're my aunt and uncle.
Oh, yeah.
So, we also have some older poppers. They're from the 1910s, 1920s.
And they were just high school. Keep that in mind, they were just high school pictures.
I didn't know they were called poppers.
Oh, all right.
Okay. You know, I've been meaning to ask, are those your initials carved on that second grader's desk? Or yours? Well, maybe not. Guess I'll have to keep asking.
The gum's still there.
The gum is still there, probably. Okay, in addition, the museum is proud to display Adams Ranch and the Cook Ranch information in the schoolhouse. That's from the Cook Ranch there also.
Who remembers the trophy? That was here
Oh.
during Kirk days, 2014.
14.
A quick story, we just had about 18 architect graduate students from Iowa State that were here a week ago Friday.
Yeah.
And I was telling them, this is in Curtis Hall, I said, do any of you know where Curtis Hall is in Iowa State? Oh yeah, a lot of them said, and one girl said, I've seen that trophy in Curtis Hall. She pulled up her phone and she had a picture of it on her phone.
Oh, yeah. It was a coincidence.
It was really cool.
The
Yeah.
cool story about that is, it was put, when they remodeled, it was put behind a wall. So it was, I mean,
It
it was
was
hidden,
hidden.
and, you know, and one time somebody from Iowa State called me and said, do you know anything about this trophy? Well, I had no idea what they were talking about. You know, and so then they pulled it out, and then we got the whole story behind it, but yeah, so it was, why they would have just closed it in behind the wall, but I suppose they saved it.
Huh.
It was basically, Mr. Cook was really involved in hybrid corn, making sure corn was yielding more. And he was, then competitions between Iowa State College back then and Nebraska and Kansas colleges, and they would pass the trophy from college to college. He, Mr. Cook was, what's the word I want to use, asked to develop the trophy. It was made by somebody in the Chicago area. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
Oh, this is a good one.
You see these dresses? They were worn by Margot and Elizabeth Adams. We found them at a garage sale.
Does anybody want to tell more about the garage sale? How it came?
Well, yeah, Eleanor Peterson.
Eleanor
met at a
Peterson.
garage sale. And it was for a PEO to raise funds or something?
And Mrs. Adams was a PEO, and she took it to the sale, and Eleanor bought it for her daughter, Jean, to
And
play,
Kate
and
dress
Karen Hewer to play dress up.
Oh.
And so then there was a Tuesday club rummage or garage sale, and Eleanor brought him there, and Renee Babcock saw him and said, "We are getting these," and she knew the story. And another story is these dresses were made by a designer in New York City, and he only makes one-of-a-kind dresses. Like if he makes my dress, you will never see it anybody else. But since they were twins, there's two dresses. I had fun doing that research on that. And they're very small.
They're small.
Side zippers.
Yep. And you can tell they were handmade designer dresses.
Yeah. So please visit the schoolhouse if you want to learn more and look at pictures or do any research on these two great Odebolt ranches. The next one, the basement is open. It features more agricultural related items and some items too big to display on the main floor. The steps going to the basement are located halfway towards the back of the museum. So when you're visiting, feel free to walk down and browse. Basement displays old license plates, old street signs.
Street signs. Ooh, look at this sign. Do you see that sign at the top that says Town of Odebolt?
That black oval,
Slow to 15 miles an hour?
15, not 50.
15. Okay, here's the story. You see that sign? You see that lady? That's my grandma.
Oh, really?
Yes, my grandma, her name was Edith Henderson at the time, lived by Cedar Rapids. And how she got out to Odebolt, Iowa in 1924 and 25 and taught school in 2nd grade. And I knew she was a teacher, but I had no idea that she was in Odebolt, Iowa. Until I came March 7th of 1975, had an interview, went home and Grandma said, you had an interview yesterday. I said, yeah. How did it go? Well, pretty good, pretty good. And she said, well, Mary, did you know I taught school in Odebolt, Iowa? I went, no. And I'm from Nashua, which is north of Waterloo, you know, it's not, I'd never heard of Odebolt in my life. And here I am. No, I have really tried to figure where that sign was placed, but I want to recreate it. And I want to put it, send it to our Iowa magazine, because they have those recreate pictures.
Oh.
I just gotta do it sometime, but, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
really-
pretty cool.
So did you have the picture then?
That's my picture, and
That is your picture.
I have another one of her standing by the two pillars in the park. And then I have pictures of her sitting in the archways of the school. And you know, the sad thing is, when I came to town, I thought, oh, no big deal.
Yeah.
I should have looked for her students. How many of you know Alice Hemphill?
Yeah.
Or knew her? She went to California for 2 years. I don't know if any of you knew that, with her parents. Those are the 2 years that Grandma was here, and she would have been in Grandma's class if Alice would have been. But, oh, well. So I think that's a pretty neat story.
Yes. Okay. Oh, there's some old washing machines, there's old golf clubs, just a whole
Array of stuff.
array of stuff is right.
Farm equipment.
Farm equipment, tools. So, oh, in my opinion, one of the goofiest things the museum has is also in the basement. It's a treadmill run by a dog. What? What is the purpose of this? To walk your dog on a rainy day? Any guesses?
What was it used for?
What was it used for? No guesses. Well, we have learned that it's an inventive way to run a butter churner. Get your dog walking and he churns the butter hooked up to it. Or butter churned hooked up to it.
It was donated by Marvin Stock.
So he can churn his butter using dog power. A lazy or else a very busy man or woman's invention, but a smart one. We have Charlie King's popcorn popper down there with a 1930 receipt in it for corn. Remember Charlie? Maybe some of you do.
How many remember Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie King.
Iowa.
He came from where?
Where?
Where's where?
Where? Don't ask who.
I knew where it was because it's in Pocahontas County. I don't know if there's anything there now, but maybe one building. But he always said, because this is when I first came, I worked in the Modern Inn, and he'd always come in for a beer. And then he said, he'd always tell that story, you know, where it's from, where? Where's where?
Well, anyway, he sold fresh popcorn on Main Street for about 5 cents a bag on Saturday night. That was a long time ago. Yeah.
I got something to add to that.
Okay.
Oh,
We'd go to the Princess Theater to eat, but this popcorn was so much better. We'd buy popcorn and go into, they did not like it, but we brought our own popcorn into the theater.
Yeah, took it into the theater.
Okay, good deal.
The Odebolt Museum is here to Odebolt memorabilia and Odebolt roots, which means we have anniversary plates from the Odebolt churches, but none from the neighboring towns. We simply don't have the space. We want our museum to be user-friendly, Odebolt-friendly. We want you to enjoy your visit to the Odebolt Museum and say, Mom had this set of bowls when I was a kid. In fact, I still have the red one. Next time you stroll down or back down the museum's memory lane, you will notice something new and interesting that you missed before. Believe me, that happens to me every time. Any questions before I ramble on? Okay. The board is always looking for ways to showcase our great museum. One of our projects, we would like to have a selfie mural painted on the outside of the west wall where no door is boarded up. But we need an artist. Hopefully a spring project. Second, we would like to scan and digitalize the various documents, diary, ledgers, pictures for museum website. A big, big project, and probably a forever one. Let's see, someday, a future dream project is to have an elevator going up to the second floor and using that apartment and that front room for display too. Yeah, that would be a dream. The museum board is toying with an idea of having a spring tea fundraiser, a yummy project. So we'll keep you posted on this fundraiser idea. Our goal is to continue to be the best and most fun to go to museum in the area. No project needed there. We already are. In closing, I will mention that there are a number of items for sale in the front shelves, Christmas bulbs, blankets and stuff, left over from fundraisers. They'd make a nice class reunion prize or a remembrance for a distant relative. If your club or family group, big or small, would like to tour this museum, please schedule one with the board members, Kathy Larson, Mary Schroeder, Renee Babcock, Kathy Drake, Pam Hansen, Diane Paulson, Steph Reinhardt, or me, Sheryl Diersen, or call City Hall. Heck, I would even be there to greet you. But P.S., if you schedule one at Halloween time, I'll wear a different dress. Surprise.
This is a really cool item.
In the front room.
Kathy, can you describe this panoramic picture for us?
Yeah, I can't remember what year it was, it's taken from the water tower, that's the Catholic church, they're right in the center. And we had those for sale, we had, and so if anybody's interested, you could get it just the print, or you could get it framed, but it's really
Quite
cool.
a beautiful print. I was gonna bring it and it didn't get brought down.
Okay, the museum, we're planning to be open for a little while today, maybe till around 5 o'clock, if anyone is interested in stopping in. Any questions now?
Kathy, do you know where that picture came from? We used to have one hanging in the office at the Chronicle.
We have several of them in there, so I'm sure that, whoever donated the original, I'm not sure who it was. Maybe it came from,
I never saw it anywhere other than there.
okay. But it's not there anymore, or you?
I don't think so, but I
Okay.
haven't really looked.
We'll have to look, see where it
Yeah,
came from.
I don't
we
think
have
it
two
is,
of
cause
them.
I think I wondered what had happened to it.
Yeah, it's a really cool picture.
If you look and you can still find some of the houses that are still.
Quite a few are still there, really.
So that picture of your grandmother, you can't tell by any of the buildings where it was taken?
I've asked people because it had to be entering town. And there used to be a highway on the west side of town, correct?
Yeah, number 4.
Number 4.
It was on Second Street. It came in from Mighty Grove on Second Street.
Oh,
That was
oh,
a highway.
It went past the ranch. It went north and south past the ranch.
Okay, but I've searched and like Dick Duffy, who else did I talk to?
That was never paid for, was it?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest was Dick, but I don't know.
I've asked Dick.
It's numbered on a highway map. It's number 4, but whether it's paid or not, I don't know.
I don't know. And of course, once again, I wasn't thinking about asking those kind of questions when there were other people around. No, okay.
We had a guy in there yesterday, Lyle Conrad. He grew up in Odebolt, and he's 90, and his wife's there. And he remembers so many things, he's so sharp, and I thought, we need to get that guy, to, get recorded, his memories of that. Because he's talked about walking out to the ranch, and seeing the stuff out there as a kid, and so he had a lot, so we should have showed him the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is he from then, Kathy?
He lives in Aurelia, so he's not
Oh,
very far
not
away.
that far.
Yeah.
Well, my grandmother remembers the mule teams having stampedes. They would get spooked and they would just take off across the field. She remembered that. They would pick up the young single teachers and take them out for dinner at the ranch, the limousine. Adam's private limousine would pick them up and take them out. She said that.
And like you said, you used to be able just to walk through there, it was always open, for everybody to go out there and.
No, it's not.
I wish
Well, I guess in closing, we, members of the museum board, hope you enjoyed this quick walk down memory lane at the Odebolt Historical Museum today. Please visit for a more close-up view of our wonderful museum collection. Thank you and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
It's really good.
Any questions now, or?
So if anybody wants to go to the museum, we'll be over there in a little bit, like 10 minutes. But anyway.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good.